Alright, so today I'm going to be talking about Spitfire Symphonic Motions, which is a string library for quavers. Alright, basically the whole point of it is sort of to focus on up and down bowing, so it sounds more realistic than normal libraries, which pretty much always only use down bows. And that's about it. It kind of just does quavers, semi-quavers, and then triplet versions of that. So I wrote a very, very short piece using it, and then I'll talk a bit, and then I'll show you like me trying to recreate it with other libraries. Let's go. Alright, so that's basically the piece. Again, it's tiny. I didn't really do much to it. I just sort of wanted to show a bit of the symphonic strings, then mixed with the symphonic motions, and then sort of going back and to the tremolos afterwards, sort of, I guess, show a bit more of what was going on. A bit about the library is it uses the Spitfire audio plugin, which I don't like. I know the Labs plugin always glitches out on my computer. I get a bunch of pops and all this stuff. And I mean, this is my template. It's got 217 tracks. That is including folders, but there's pretty much all of these are separate instances of Contact, which, I mean, they only really have one thing on them. But like, there is a lot of stuff here. And I never get any pops. I never even max out the RAM. And I had to actually render as audio this one, because this one would not play. I don't know why. This one did fine. This one then like added later and was fine, but this one just kept popping and freezing and glitching out, and it even crashed Cubase. And that's the first time Cubase has ever crashed for me in my entire usage of Cubase. So yeah, but besides not being a fan of the interface because it sucks, it actually this is really cool. So you can sort of choose, because it's a it's got the whole ensemble patch. You sometimes don't want the lowest ones to be doing what the highest ones are doing, so I just have the lowest ones doing eighths and the highest ones doing semi-quavers, which is kind of what you'd normally do in that kind of situation. They also have some other features which some people find cool, like all the randomizing and stuff like that. I don't really like randomizing because I like to actually have a input on what I'm writing, as opposed to just sort of letting the computer write for me, which is why I don't really use phrase libraries. But I mean, this is really just all quavers. And if I show you this, you can see here how I can still get my own rhythm, the rhythm that I would have wanted to put in anyway, just using this. So and that was the very first take I ever did with this. Like I didn't add it. I quantized it once. I did Control A and then Q. That's it, and that sounds perfect. There's no more that needs to be done to it. I do want to talk about one thing, however, which is if I solo this, you might need to turn up your computer for this. I can't really hear a difference between this and this. So I don't know, is that affecting reverb? Or is that not affecting the... Because this one is definitely just volume. Yeah, so I don't know if they only have like one patch. They don't have different like samples going on there, which I'm kind of disappointed with, but I mean, it's fine. Whatever. But yeah, so that was one downside. Well, besides this. So I've also just done over here, you can hear just some random stuff. I wanted to test out some other stuff besides just normal quavers. So here's just got some random pizzicato stuff. And I did actually randomize this one, and I said Collegno to start with, and then yeah, just to kind of add a bit of interest sort of thing going on. But that is why this is more than just a phrase library, is because you can choose how you want to start. So I did sol pont. You can either do spiccato or sol pont. They just kind of get a bit more aggression at the first note, and then it sort of tapers off and goes to normal playing after that. That's how you can kind of make your own rhythms. But anyway, so it blends fine, as you heard, which was kind of what they were saying. Like, it works well because it's the same players in the same hall. But I mean, everyone mixes every kind of string library with other even string library, and no one notices. So that was never really an issue. Finally, just cover, people kind of disappointed that it was only cellos and violins. And Spitfire said the reason we did that was to make it tighter, which is a huge burn on violas. But I mean, it covers the whole range, so it's not like you need to even have them there. It's not really noticeable. And basses, I mean, basses are going to be doing a really slow thing anyway. You can see I added bass for this part, and that's all it's doing, just to accent some points, because bass just doesn't sound good doing those parts anyway. All right, so now's the what you really came here for, and that's the comparison between the libraries. So I've just got Spitfire Symphonic strings, Spitfire Studio strings, and then LA scoring strings. Did this, and then I tapered it specifically to this, and then I just copied and pasted it here and here. And those ones worked fine, whereas Symphonic strings needed heaps of work. So I'll show you again what this one sounds like. Right, so that sounds great. And now if I solo this, it is super messy. Yeah. I mean, obviously it sounds fine. You can't really tell that they're all down bows, but yeah, it's kind of messy. That's partially because, like, I had to put different minuses on I meant to put something over there to try and get it, because they all have different attack, which is just a pain to do. This probably took me doing all of those to still sound kind of messy, like 15 minutes. Obviously I just copy and paste here, so that took like a second. But I mean, obviously if I was actually writing a piece, I would have to write it out, which would take like 15 minutes. So that was kind of really disappointing. Here's this. My template doesn't have basses in the studio strings just because I haven't put them in, so I couldn't be bothered to do that. But here's this. Which already sounds way better, but still kind of, I mean, like, it could pass easily, would be passable, and I've done it before, no one's noticed, I haven't noticed, and if someone played that, I probably wouldn't notice, but, you know, compared to this, there's so much uniformity going on here, where it sounds like an actual orchestra is playing before you. And then finally, early scoring strings, which was the best out of those three. So yeah, LA scoring strings sounds great. Yeah, so I mean, you probably, again, LA scoring strings is basically sounds the exact same as that. Although that would have taken me about 15 minutes, and this took me literally one playthrough of someone who's bad at piano, and then a quick Control-A and quantize. That's it. One thing that is really annoying about it is if you start in the middle, because it starts when you play it, so if you're like me and you play piano really poorly, it's going to sound like this. Which sounds awful. And if you play it in the middle of the bar, like I'm doing here, I'm going to even go a bit off the beat. Just if I was to randomly click somewhere and play it, it's going to think that that's the start of the beat. And then, I mean, obviously it's going to reset here when we redo it, but it's going to be so out of time and it sounds gross. So that might have been a bad example because no one else is playing. Go from like here. And I mean, obviously that's fine because it repeats quick enough, but if I was doing a really long section, like this or something, with this one really long part here, it'd just be so annoying to have to go back to the start. Besides that, yeah, I mean, I think it's good. It definitely saves so much time. Like I'm saying, that literally was one playthrough just doing the chords, and then I quantized it, and that's it. I didn't do any editing. This took me 15 minutes to get a subpar result. I mean, again, if it was this one, it would have been probably equal result. But 15 minutes versus like 11 seconds, I don't know. Anyway, that's that. I think it's pretty cool. Make up your own mind. Laters.